Lorit, did I hear you say your name to the audience, really? Do they know who you are?
I did. Do you want me to say it again?
Yes, probably. I want to hear it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, maybe you can familiarize with my face a little bit. My name is Lurit Yugusuk. I will be Kevin's co-facilitator for the day, and I'm hoping we're able to engage throughout the process and get to learn so much from this event. Yes.
Thank you very much, Lurit. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning to you all. Can I just hear the room kind of roar? Good morning to you all. Can I see you waving the air a bit? There's a gentleman at the behind who's not waving. I see you. Yeah, I see you. All right, thank you very much. Karibuni tena sana to USAID's Kenyan Investment Mechanism Learning Event 2022. My name is Kevin Swahili, and it's without doubt an absolute pleasure to do this today for the next 2 days. And for me, probably let me set context of what to expect. Then as the day progresses, we'll keep on unpacking it and unpacking it more, right? So I probably do expect and maybe get to realize that there could be a person within the audience and also somebody getting in within the virtual platform who has never maybe experienced what USAID Kenya Investment Mechanism is. But then again, before I also go into that, I will also just want to say a big hello to the audience joining in virtually. Which camera am I in? This one, right? Okay. All right, so karibuni tena sana. I hope you can keep this as engaging as possible as the day gets by. Two things, probably to start this up for me. Who is USAID Kenya Investment Mechanism? Allow me to take that verbatim. Kenya Investment Mechanism, or rather USAID Kenya Investment Mechanism, is a program facilitating $520 million in investment for key sectors of Kenya's economy. So Kenya Investment Mechanism addresses true principal market failures that have discouraged investors from financing that's within the micro and small medium enterprises in the Kenyan economy. All right, so Kenya Investment Mechanism, it's on its 4th year of implementation, and probably in terms of how I have understood the program, they're getting into its 5th year of implementation, right? So this particular event is a knowledge management and transfer, which is key to KIM's success. And within the next 2 days, starting right now, and as we keep on unpacking these particular bits, we'll be looking at what exactly is the role, the BASPs, as KIMs call it, that's BASPs, the Business Advisory Service Providers. What role do they actually play when it comes to accelerating opportunities for the small and medium enterprises? We'll also be looking probably at the role various financial institutions do play. Yes, I mean, under the KIM ecosystem, you'll hear banks like KCB, there is Family Bank, there is Juhudi Kilimo, amongst others who probably will also get to interact with them as the day gets by. And besides that also is just to, this is a platform for us to interact, to engage, to explore lessons that have emerged. But besides also exploring lessons, we get to demystify what are some of the challenges and how did we mitigate those particular challenges for them to yield results. And it's not going to be all about talk. I hope we can engage, I hope we can interact, and I hope we can get to foster probably some collaboration by taking this particular content within the social media platform. And what's our hashtag? Allow me to pick that up again. What's our hashtag? Our hashtag for the next 2 days is going to be USAID KIM Learning Event and hashtag to invest in Kenya. Talk to us. Allow me to recap that again, both for our virtual platforms and also for you as our participants within the room. There are 2 particular hashtags that we'll be leveraging on for the social media, and that's hashtag USAID KIM Learning Event, and the other hashtag is to invest in Kenya. Talk to us. And I'll just a starting point to it. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring up on a border to the podium gentleman, the Chief of Party USAID Kenya Investment Mechanism, to probably just start this up for us. And just 2 lines in terms of who Mr. Roger Bad is. He has extensive wealth of knowledge in agriculture amounting to more than 35 years. He holds the value and importance of farmers and agricultural communities deeply, and this has driven his work both in the US and within the global platform. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce to you the Chief of Party USAID Kenya Investment Mechanism, Mr. Roger Bad, to just come up on board and take us through his opening remarks for the event. Right, Roger? Here? Ready? Yeah, Roger, please. The audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's really wonderful to see you all, and we're really excited about today's event, and I'm really pleased to be able to make a few opening remarks. USAID's Kenyan Investment Mechanism, this is their 4th year learning event, and we are live streaming here from Nairobi, chilly Nairobi, right? It's a little chilly. And we're also streaming with Zoom and with over 500 participants, also on the other platforms which are in YouTube, our YouTube channels. Again, my name is Roger Bird, and I am the COP for USAID's Kenyan Investment Mechanism. I'm really pleased to welcome you all and kick off this year's Knowledge Management and Learning event. This is our opportunity to pause and reflect on what we've learned in our implementation of this activity. We all call this collaboration, learning, and adaptive management. Now, the next 2 days is not just about what Kim's results are, but instead, you'll hear from our partners, stakeholders, and about how the Kenyan Investment Mechanism activity has helped them and what we've learned that we could improve upon. Let me first give some context for the event with an overview of the Kenyan Investment Mechanism activity. USAID's Kenyan Investment Mechanism is an activity that connects business opportunities with financing. The primary objective is to activate private sector capital. We do this into underserved markets that meet then development objectives. And we're looking to fill that gap in financing between the supply and demand of funds. To meet these objectives, we support strategic policy and regulatory reforms that further unlock capital. Now, what's important to understand is that the capital we're looking to fill, that gap comes from the private sector, not from USAID funds. Kenyan Investment Mechanism is not a fund, but it is a facilitator. Financing comes from banks, leasing companies, private equity, social, and impact investment funds. What we do is we help the supply side connect with the demand side in such a way that supports safety and soundness in finance and builds lasting market relationships that shift the financial ecosystem to operate more effectively. As a development practitioner, what I find most interesting about the Kenyan Investment Mechanism Development Program is that it is the ability to engage sector capital who is taking that capital at their own, using that capital at their own risk, and it's what we call pay for results. Now, here's how it works. It's quite simple. We've partnered with 40 local business advisory service providers and 20 financial institutions with the objectives of financing small to medium-sized enterprises in underserved markets. Now, pay for results means that there is an incentive fee available when there is success. This incentive fee to these partners is paid when they are securing financing for the enterprises. It's like a little nudge to the supply side and demand side for engaging in these markets. The underserved markets are areas such as agriculture or health or water and sanitation. Now in Kenya, less than 4% of bank financing goes into the agricultural sector, which represents actually 25% of the country's GDP. Also, women and youth-owned businesses. These are high-growth opportunities. The Kenyan investment mechanism has a 5-year life of project target of $520 million. That seems like a big task, but at this point, just before the end of our year 4, we have achieved $485 million. And so we think that, we believe that this incentive system does in fact speak for itself. I see the pay-for-results model as an effective development tool. For example, to date, for every dollar that USAID has invested into the Kenyan investment mechanism, we have leveraged, what we call leverage, or mobilized $25 into the private sector that is as a result of the financial institutions taking their own risk. That's really good value for money in development. And this is not just about an incentive success fee. In fact, the fees they're quite small. They're generally about 1%. Again, this is designed to be just a nudge. We know that the market charges between 3 and 5% to help businesses structure incentives to be just enough. What I love about this is that USAID is offering payment for services, a success fee, that meets development goals. We continually monitor our structure to ensure that we offer just enough to be able to make the market move. What our partners, business advisors, are telling us that you'll hear from in these sessions is that as a result of USAID's activity, the businesses have gained much more credibility in the market. The business advisors have gained much more credibility in the market as a result of this structure. And the SMEs are much more willing to pay for advisory services today than they were in the beginning. Our business advisors say that over 60% of their SMEs are now paying for advisory services, compared to when we started, it was 0. This is a sign of the market's movement. And also, when CRIM started, the financial institutions were not working with business advisors. This has changed as a result of the efforts to bring the two groups into a relationship. Partner banks have financed over $7 million in transactions that were brought to them by business advisors, showing a good incremental change into that system. And that's what we want to see, are these relationships developing in such a way where financial institutions ultimately are willing to pay the success fee to the business advisors themselves. This is how it is working successfully in developed economies. Now, we've been supporting our partners with targeted sector training in agricultural value chains, water sanitation, and health financing techniques. And we've embedded these financing techniques into these financial institutions through what we call training of the trainers programs. And we have support new loan product developments that help financial institutions mitigate risk and better match repayments to the enterprise's cash collection cycles. Now, we can't underestimate the value of our policy work, where we are working with counties and national government to build investors' confidence, to improve the ease of doing business, and both promote and facilitate new investments that add jobs, increase livelihoods, and smooth out supply chains and distribution channels. We understand how policies are important in the investment mobilization, and we are collaborating with counties to carry out policy reforms that will anchor key investment opportunities. We want to help build the capacity of the county officials to understand how investments and development policies encourage investors to invest in their counties. Now, based on lessons we have learned so far, we are adapting how our approach to put these we've changed our approach to put the county in the driver's seat. So going forward, we will be inviting counties to request assistance for initiatives that they will co-finance and champion. This approach offers counties the opportunity to lead their own initiatives and build their own capacity to engage with experts like policy drafting firms and business advisors and key strategic investors. Now, the Kenyan investment mechanism is not only working on capital mobilization and policy reform. We have a number of other initiatives that we support as well. For example, we are implementing a special women's economic empowerment program that seeks to increase access to financing by women-owned businesses and to take the gender bias out of the market and mainstream gender equality and inclusion. We are also supporting Kenya's pension fund to invest into infrastructure, energy, agriculture, and other sectors, because these are typically large transactions that really help the development of the country. So the Kenyan Pension Fund Investment Consortium, or as we call them, KEFIC, has already mobilized more than $100 million into road and housing infrastructure. You'll hear from the head of the KEFIC Secretariat later, and they'll have an opportunity to be able to describe more about how they are mobilizing pension funds into the market. What's exciting about this particular opportunity for me is that it is a true form of Kenyans investing in Kenya. The consortium also offers American institutional investors an opportunity to co-invest here in Kenya. Now, we support financing opportunities through the U.S. Development Finance Corporation Credit Guarantee Program. Kenyan Investment Mechanism supports 10 credit guarantees totaling $82 million that are supporting agriculture, health, and water and sanitation. We see these credit guarantees as business enablers to better engage SMEs, and we are supporting them with pipeline development, targeted product development, technical training. We've scaled utilization in these credit guarantee programs from 11% to over 57% in just 4 years. Lastly, we're supporting Kenya's National Treasury to scale a national credit guarantee scheme for SMEs that was just launched a year ago. This is similar to the Development Finance Corporation's guarantee system under USAID, but this is Kenya's own national credit guarantee program that helps SMEs access financing through commercial banks. And tomorrow, the National Credit Guarantee Program's head manager will be here to talk about the results that they've achieved and the lessons that they have learned in that process so far in their journey. So as you can see by now, Investment Mechanism is a robust program that is championing for sustainable local economic development in Kenya and across East Africa. Over the course of the next 2 days, you'll hear from our partners and our stakeholders how Kenyan Investment Mechanism has engaged in the market, what's working, and what could be improved. In collaboration with our partners, several case studies will be highlighted, and you'll be able to engage with those partners to better understand how the solutions have been employed. Now, while this learning event is not about Kenyan Investment Mechanism's actual results, I do want to take a moment to thank the Kenyan Investment Mechanism team for an outstanding year of performance. for their dedication and passion to improve the financial ecosystem during a time that has really been challenging for us to create and innovate in order to stay true to our goals and our objectives. More and more, we're seeing the effects of climate change, droughts, floods, unpredictable weather patterns, and of course, we've all been experiencing the challenges of COVID-19, where it's disrupted employment and supply chain channels. I've watched this team each month pause and reflect, which is what we're here to do today, is pause and reflect on both what we do and how we do it. They connect with our partners and stakeholders to listen and learn and exchange ideas, to innovate and adapt. Again, this is why we're here. As the saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And we know we can't do this alone. And we are really grateful for the collaboration and support of our partners and stakeholders, for their passion and for their dedication, for the friends that we were making along the way, and mostly for their perseverance in countless technical challenges as we've all stayed connected during COVID. And of course, the extended KIM network really offers a huge appreciation to our USAID colleagues who have tirelessly supported and guided our activities. So, with that, let's get this program started. Let's collaborate, learn, and exchange to further Kenya's growth and economic opportunities. That's why we're here. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know, as humans, we're not really capable of holding back our passion, our vision, or our creativity. We were actually born to learn and to adapt. And here's what I know. We can't always get it right, but the only real failure is to not try at all. So thank you very much. I look forward to an engaging opportunity with you all over the next 2 days, and it's truly a pleasure to be part of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Roger Bad, for the introductory remarks and actually just setting context and officially opening up this particular session. And allow me to probably just pick a few words out of Roger's introduction. Ideally, this year's learning event has been curated under the theme Access and Impact. Probably when you check through your front screen, Access and Impact, Transforming Financial Markets for Shared Prosperity. And ideally, within the next 2 days, so much of our notes, so much of our learnings has been centered under the theme Access and Impact, and geared towards transforming financial markets for shared prosperity. And key, as Ed probably did on the introductory remarks when I was starting this up, Rogers alluded to the fact that they're already partnering with 40 business advisory service providers. That's indeed really massive, and maybe just linking that up to somebody who will be interested in knowing what exactly do these 40 business advisory service providers do. Yeah, there is a great session coming in tomorrow centered around the partnership between the BASPs and the financial institutions. Allow me to probably just again reiterate the fact that this particular content that we are having here and this particular learning event is being projected within two social media platforms. That's Facebook and YouTube. So if at all you have anyone probably will be wishing to be here today and they're not able to, hey, you can share the link. There's a YouTube link. And of course, again, when you go to the USAID Kenya Investment Mechanism Facebook page, the stream is currently underway. Then the second thing also is for anyone who probably picks up any greater learning insights as the lessons progresses. The hashtag that we are using on this is hashtag USAID Kim Learning Event and hashtag to invest in Kenya. Talk to us. Lurit, it's probably a chance for you to maybe just bring into us what we may be experiencing within the digital platform, or if at all you're experiencing also a new friend from your end, you could maybe link us onto that. Lurit?
I think before we get right into the digital platform, which is very active today, we might just pick a few sentiments from the audience that's here at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen in the room, the big question comes in. What are your expectations from this learning event? What do you want to see? What do you want to learn? What is big for you about this event? So before I begin selecting at random, are there any volunteers who would like to say something to us today? I'm trying to look around the room and there's nobody trying to participate in my question. So I'm going to move table by table. Let's see. Can we begin here? Good morning. I'm looking at you. Could you perhaps tell us what are you expecting from this event?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Aisha from Land Access BV. My expectation is to get clear action points based on the learnings of other people in the same space, particularly around innovations and digitization of the entire sector. What is being done? What do we need to start doing? What do we need to stop doing? Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's very interesting. I hope panelists, you've been able to hear about digitization largely. Okay, I'm going to pick a gentleman now. Let's see. This table right here. I hope I'm not going too far. What are your expectations from this learning event, and what would you like to see throughout the day?
Oh, good morning. My name is Alan Kimani from Kiambu County Government, the economic advisor to the governor there. I think one of my expectations is to know how my county, which is the second largest contributor to national GDP after Nairobi, will be able to be more succinct in terms of attracting investment into the county, and what tools can I learn then, can I get and take away from here to be able to attract more investments to grow that economy, to be the first contributor to national GDP. Thank you.
Thank you very much. People from Kiambu, you're very well represented around here. Roger, did you hear that? Kiambu wants to participate in the financial economic system. Very well. Kevin, maybe from your side, we can pick a few participants from the physical audience to give us a few expectations. Maybe pick a gentleman and a lady on that side, then we move to the digital engagement.
All right, and whom am I seeing? Okay, I think I see a gentleman maybe whom I'm familiar with, Joel. Is there any expectation you have out of this session? Anything insightful?
Thank you. My name is Joel McGee. I work for the Kenya Investment Mechanism as Director of Finance and Administration. What I'd like to see from this forum is actually the aspect of networking between the providers of capital and the SMEs who require capital, such that we build a network and move those discussions forward to closing the deals and ensuring that the Kenya Investment Mechanism and the ecosystem actually benefits from the project.
Thank you, Joel. One last one. I see Mom is raising, so probably we could channel the camera to her.
Good morning. My name is Sylvia Carrebe. I am the chair lady of an organization called African Women Agribusiness Network. We try to assist women to do agriculture as a business. So I am here to learn how to work with the BAPs, and I'm also very interested to learn about the guarantee program. Thank you.
Thank you. The guarantee program, Mom is already alluding to the content that will come in tomorrow. Thank you for those particular expectation areas from our participants just plugging in within the physical audience. Lurit, could I take it back to you one last time for any content arising from the digital bit? Then we'll go on to our panel segment for the day.
Yes, definitely. The digital space is looking very active at the moment, and just to read from the engagement going on at the moment, one individual mentioned that the pay for results incentive system has nudged them to seek enterprises that are having real impact on smallholder farmers. But a question comes in: how can they help unlock the hashtag USAID Kim Learning Event, Access Impact Finance, is going to open their mind to a wide range of ideas. So, are we ready to open our minds to a wide range of ideas today and collaborate, innovate, learn, and grow through this learning event? Kevin, I think I'm going to throw it back to you, and let's get right into it.
Thank you, Lurit, for that. Lurit is urging us here. Are we ready to learn, innovate, and probably just open our minds to more? Yes, ideally believe this particular session that's coming in next will enable us maybe just think through in a much more deeper way, and also maybe also set the discourse that we're going to have within the next 2 days. But first, without probably just getting into the panel area, we developed a short video nugget out of the head of finance at Facts Africa to just probably indicate or tease a little bit in terms of what are some of the existing opportunity spaces that exists within either the digital ecosystem or within the financial ecosystem. And let's see the screens on what Peter from Facts Africa had to say.
Some of the opportunities that do exist, and as a market, one of the examples that I can give, I can see with the is an insurance sector whereby it's no update of trade insurance. So that's something that I do believe that this needs to be looked into, and more prayers need to do pray back into this one. I think the other one that I see is on advisory, especially the financial advisory. I feel that people who have professional skills need to come up and do professional advisory to SMEs, because one of the reasons why they're facing problems in terms of their financing is because they don't have the right advisory. And eventually, whenever they are given working practice or issues, they end up having regarding issues to do with how to manage their finances. One of the opportunities that any business person using this country needs to take advantage of, especially in the IT sector and developers. This is an exposed area whereby developers need to take advantage of what is happening in this country. They come in a tech country, and if you don't develop softwares which are able to help even these ugly value shades, they can be in a cost, they can be able to process information. This is the right approach, and I see the opportunity in many young people, many young men and women who can be able to tap into this and make a living out of it. A company which intends to do a business like Facts, there are a couple of lessons they need to learn, and there are a couple of preparations they need to take into place. Number one, the biggest registration. They need to understand the registration of the RAD, whereby what are the regulations into the finance sector when you want to explore this particular side. It's normally a very tactical way of looking at business, so that you avoid any exposures that may come in the eventuality that you are faced with challenges to do with registration. Another one I may talk about is the culture of business. So any business you want to do, you have to do a proper due diligence and understand the market you're going to get into. What is the culture of that business? How do people relate with your products? So you have to analyze it properly so that you don't make a mistake of selling the wrong product to the right people. So that is another factor that I believe that people should look at.
Thank you. 1, 2. All right. Right there was a clip coming in from Peter, who is the head of finance at Facts Africa. We'll be seeing Peter up in a few. Allow me, ladies and gents, to just take you through into what comes in next in our program. This is the first session of this particular 2-day affair centered around financial innovation, development, and uptake. And it gives me much more pleasure and room to introduce them to you Nina Shaban, who's going to be the moderator of this particular segment. A brief introduction into who Nina is that Nina Shaban is a business news anchor at NTV, and she has massive experience in reporting the news from a business and a finance standpoint. Ladies and gents, please allow me to urge you to introduce or rather to clap up and encourage Nina as she gets on stage to take charge of this particular audience. Nina, the podium is all yours.
Well, a very good morning to each and everybody. Everyone looks lovely. Good morning to you. Well, my name is Nina Shaban, as Kevin said earlier, and I'm extremely honored to be moderating this first session of the USAID Kim Learning event. And just to give you a background on what exactly the first session is all about, we are going to be discussing financial innovation, development, and uptake. Now, to shed some light on the topic of discussion before we allow our panelists to join us on stage, here's some context. Small and medium enterprises, they are the main drivers or economic drivers, especially in this country. And they are the main economic and development drivers, as I said earlier. Now, they, however, have constrained by lack of access to finances and financial institutions that are not willing to work with them or offer credit facilities, which is quite unfortunate. And this is due to lack of collaterals. So in light of this, capital-constrained SMEs have limited access to raising capital. And as such, factoring a technique or techniques used to stimulate lending to agricultural value chains is prescribed as a source of working capital and financing, and the ideal financial model for the high risk and unstructured, or what we term as undeserved. Now, very quickly, I'd like our panelists to join us on stage. I don't need to speak much. The people you need to hear from are very able panelists, and I'll start off with, there's only one lady on stage apart from myself, and I feel like that's quite unfair, but we'll work on that next time. So Muenje, please join us on stage. Anne, as she joins us, kindly give her a round of applause. I gave more bio on Anne, but Anne Muenje is the Financial Institutions Director at the Kenya Investment Mechanism. You look lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so Peter Ndirangu, who is the head of finance. We saw Peter on our screens just a few seconds ago. A round of applause as Peter joins us. He is the head of finance at the Financial Access, Commerce and Trade Services, what is also known as FACT. Peter, very good morning to you. We also have Anthony Mbidi, who is the head of agribusiness segment from Family Bank. Anthony, a round of applause as Anthony joins us. And then we also have David Njiru, who is the chief business officer at Juhudi Kilimo. A round of applause for him as well. And finally, the last one on our panelists is Anton Wambura, who is a product development expert. Anton, a very good morning to you. A round of applause for him as he joins us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, my very able panelists, just allow me to shed some light on who exactly they are. And I'll start off with Peter Ndirangu, the gentleman we just saw on our screens a few minutes ago. He is a certified public accountant of Kenya, whose forte is in accounting, and he holds a master's in business administration from Strathmore Business School. His passion for agri-finance and value chain finance led him to successfully undertake an executive certificate in agriculture finance. A round of applause for him. I'm going to make you clap for a couple of times because, I mean, they do deserve it. And then we are going to also hear about Anthony Mbithi, who is a highly competent individual in the field of agribusiness who has assisted financial institutions to design and implement scalable financial solutions to value chain actors in the agriculture sector. Now, he also holds an MBA in strategic management from Southeastern Kenya University and a certificate in agricultural financing and agribusiness from Kenya School of Monetary Studies. Okay, we also have David Njiru. David has over 20 years in microfinance, and he brings on board a vast wealth of experience in building and training winning teams, brand management, people management, business development, and credit management. David holds an MBA in strategic management and a Bachelor of Education degree. Now, Anton Wambura is a financial services and organizational development expert. He has extensive experience in commercial and investment banking, financial risk management, insurance, credit risk management, cooperative management, microfinance, and Islamic finance. Now, he has played a pivotal role in the financial services sector in Kenya. And I'll wind up with the only other female on stage, that is Anne Muenje. Anne is a corporate banker, transformational and financial coach. She has held leadership roles in banking and finance industry for 10 plus years, and she was the Associate Director, Commercial Clients at Standard Chartered, Assistant Vice President, Commercial Clients at Habib Bank, and her educational background in bachelor degree in business management, marketing, and MBA in strategic management. One last round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. And Anne, since I've started with you, I'd like to kick off this conversation with the background that you have, and we are in an environment that is characterized by the multiplicity of shocks such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Maybe we can start off by you letting us know, how has this impacted financial inclusion?
Okay, thank you for the questions. When we look at what Kenya Investment Mechanism does, we look at it from a holistic point of view, as Roger had shared earlier. We look at the supply side, where we have my partners who are with me here. We also look at the demand side. And all this, we also still look at the policy side, which you will hear, I think, from my colleague tomorrow. Then we also look at what are the underserved sectors, that is women, youth, WASH, and health. So we holistically look at these sectors that, one, are always impacted, like every time we have a pandemic, or even lending to these particular sectors is normally lower than the other sectors like manufacturing or trade. So we have helped our partners now get into these particular sectors and work with them. And what we normally do for our partners, the supply side, is we give them incentive fees. We also give a lot of capacity building. We do a lot of training for them. And we also help them with technical expertise or technical support that is coming up with new products, helping them review their current existing products. We also help them in the management of any guarantees that are there. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. And now, Peter, I'd like to come straight to you. Many small and medium enterprises are not formalized in that. They don't keep records, and also there are no signs of them even paying taxes. How do you, from where you sit, how do you bridge this gap, maybe formalize SMEs to accelerate financial inclusion?
Thank you, Nina. So good morning to you all. So my name is Peter Dirango. I work for a company called Fax, so where we provide innovative solutions towards supply chain financing. They range from invoice financing, supply chain financing, and also export or import financing. So going to your question, what we do is that we try to bridge the gap between the missing middle, whereby most of the SMEs, financial institutions, especially banks, shy away from advancing credit to these SMEs. So we look at them, especially on the basis of looking at the 5C model, looking at the collateral as a point. You find that most financial institutions will not absorb most of the SMEs on this basis. So we become innovative and we look at the receivables. So we do trade financing, whereby it becomes part of what forms a basis of advancing credit to SMEs. This has really bore a lot of fruits, and most SMEs have been able to access credit through fax. And also we have a digital platform whereby our sister company called LeadAccess, whereby they provide solutions based on credit scoring, and they assist these SMEs as well to be able to be ready when they go to the financial institutions, that they can be able to be absorbed in any particular point.
All right. And with that said, Anthony, I'd like to now speak to you. Good morning to you once again. Now, Anthony, being the head of agribusiness from a financial institution, how are financial institutions dealing with trying to accelerate financial inclusion and at the same time dealing with high-risk profiles?
Thank you and good morning all. Yes, I'll talk about the financial institutions in general, but also particularly what Family Bank is doing in this space. At Family Bank, first of all, we are very deliberate about agri-financing. In fact, it is a key driver to our bank-wide strategy. And so we go over and above the core mandate of the bank of lending to now look into the market, the synergies available that we can bring together and offer effective solutions to any value chain actor out there. And so you will find us talking to technical experts. You will find us talking to market players who provide a solution at their end. And when we come in as a financial institution to give our support in terms of financing, then access to finance to these agri-SMEs happens. We also now leverage on risk-sharing arrangements in the market and the incentives like the one that Kim is providing to the banks that serves now to reduce the risk that we take as a bank and also improve the economics of the small loans so that we can be able to reach the masses. And so I would say that a combination of all those has really helped the bank to reach the segment. But we still believe there is room for more. We are not sitting back. We're still doing more collaborations out there to ensure that we reach the market, we serve the market as it should. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Anthony. And David, hand in hand with what Anthony has just said, from your point of view, how do you deal with collateralization of farm produce in regards to financial inclusion?
Thank you, Nina. Good morning, everyone. Collateralization of farm produce. When it comes to funding rural smallholder farmers, in most cases, these customers or these rural smallholder farmers, they may not have had securities. And because, like Juhudi Kilimo, we are an institution that really embraces inclusion. We want the guys at the bottom of the pyramid also to access financial services. We also want to improve their livelihoods. What we have seen most work very well is when they form groups, social groups. They come together in groups of, small groups of 10 members, and we use character as the basic collateral for these loans. Again, also, rural smallholder farmers have crops. Also, they have livestock. In most cases, again, they will do a pledge to the groups, just as a sign of commitment that the member is committed to honor their obligation in the group. And we have seen this work. But above all, collateral is not the most important thing. The most important thing is the training that you offer to the members of the group, so that, again, you take them through what they need to do with the money. You offer training on the purpose of the loan, on their income generating activities. You support them to succeed in what actually they want to do with the money. If you do that, then you are good to go.
Well, thank you very much. Now, Anton, I'd like to, we'd like to hear your voice as well. So we have Anton and we have Anthony. Just to be clear, Anthony Bimbidi is the head of agribusiness from Family Bank, and seated next to me is Anton Wambura, who is a product development expert. Anton, 8 out of 10 businesses in Kenya are informal, and they actually lack financial inclusion. As an expert, what are the ways that may be used to deal with informal businesses and ensure that they are financially included?
Thank you, Nina. The reality is that most African economies, Kenyan included, is actually driven by the what we call the micro and the small enterprises. At Kenya, we are actually at 85%. So it means that where the banks or the financial institutions have a comfort zone is only within the 15%. And that basically leaves a big majority of people either underbanked or completely financially excluded. Now, to be able to, and you find that 15% is actually not a sustainable market. And therefore, the first thing that the financial institutions must do is to be very deliberate in how they approach this 85%. And you find that at the bottom of that 85% is actually where agribusiness lies. And therefore, the banks must be, and the financial institutions must be very, very deliberate in terms of how do we embrace this segment that is generally classified as risky. The moment the bank is driven to be able to offer solutions, it means that they will go beyond what Anthony has said, that they go beyond the normal risk parameters, and they craft specific products, specific solutions, specific risk mitigations, and specific accommodations that can be able to work for this segment. And therefore, for me, the first thing is actually to address this at the strategic level so that the operational level can be comfortable enough to be able to undertake that risk. And secondly, through partnerships, you find that then with partnerships, particularly like the one that the Kenya Investment Mechanism has provided, particularly in terms of the National Guarantee Fund, which will now be rolled out, you find that the risk of that segment, what we call systemic risk of that segment, is then shared between the financial institution and the guarantee system and also the client. So you find that you're actually reducing your risk from maybe 100% to maybe 30%. At that level, the banks or the financial institutions become sufficiently comfortable to undertake that risk and to go through a learning process. Now, as they learn over the first 1, 2, 3 years, then they'll be able to get comfortable with some of the markets that were perceived as risky, and then they're able to move on with the lending, even without the guarantee system being continued. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Anton. And as we continue with this conversation, I'd just like to remind us that the hashtag across all social media platforms is hashtag USAID Kim Learning Event. For those of us who are in this room, I do hope that you're jotting your questions down, because at the tail end of this conversation, we'll be having a question and answer segment. And of course, those who are joining us virtually, please do the same. We'll be waiting for your comments. At the tail end of this event, we shall be having the question and answer session as well. Now, Anne, I'd like to come back to you. As Anton has said, and as everyone actually has said, SMEs or informal the informal organizations are the ones that drive the economy in this country. Now, they have been identified actually as the main economic drivers and for employment as well in the country. They, however, face numerous barriers that prevent them from participating in the economy. How does the Kenya Investment Mechanism seek to bridge the gap to ensure the inclusion and development?
Okay, thank you. Because we have identified what SMEs go through, because that's what we do on a daily basis, and we have now worked with over 35 BASPs who help the enterprises to become investor ready, who are able to speak the bank's language and help the enterprises come up. So they will, when the enterprise goes to a BASP, they'll be able to get their records set straight. They'll be able to get advice in terms of the strategic plan. If they need funding, even if it's not within the country, they are able to be assisted. So our BASPs normally do that. They really help our enterprises, and where they feel an enterprise maybe needs a credit guarantee, they will be able to package them very well. So they do, it's like a one-stop shop for the enterprises. So before they go to the banks or before they go to any financial institution, it's good that they work with a BASP and then they become investor ready. Even for startups, we've seen people who have grand ideas who reach out to our BASPs and they are able to be packaged and they walk the journey. It can take 3 months or whatever journey, 6 months, and then they are able to be taken to our partner financial institutions. That way, even the time it takes to approve a credit proposal from the BASP or for the enterprise is even reduced, because they come ready. Everything is, they help tick certain boxes for them and open doors for them. So that is one of the things that we do.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. For those of us who are not clear on what BASPs are, these are business advisory service providers. Now, Peter, with your experience with the Kenya Investment Mechanism, Kim, kindly elaborate on the supply chain financing that FACTS have to enhance capital mobilization for small, medium enterprises.
Yeah, thank you, Nina. So for FACTS, what we normally do is we offer working capital solutions. And we normally do an analysis on the SMEs when they come. And I'm happy that the BASP is, we are collaborating with you. So when they bring grants to us, so what we normally do is we do a lot of assessment to make sure that we also don't have the exposures. And one of the products we offer, we look at it from the side of, I can maybe give an example. I'm going to use a bit of some few words here, whereby we have a client whom I'm going to call an SME, who have suppliers, and at the same time, they also have off-takers. Off-takers are those clients that you're selling to. So on the basis of the off-takers, that's where we leverage and we say, this is where we are going to take the risk. Instead of us looking at this client and saying, we are not going to finance them, we are going to look at the off-taker's strength, and we say that this customer is maybe doing a turnover of $200,000 maybe per year through this off-taker, and with that, we can be able to look at the receivables and we finance against that so that they can be able to have working capital. They can be able to fund their operations. They can be able to fund any business growth that they are supposed to do. So this way, we have been able to be very innovative to make sure that even the small, medium enterprises who are unable to access credit, they can be able to access it through companies like Financial Access. So that's one of the ways that we are doing it. Another way is we are looking at the supply chain financing side, whereby we look at an SME or one client and we go to the buyer, a big buyer. For example, maybe just, I can give a multinational for just an example. We can look at Unilever. Unilever is supporting a couple of SMEs who are supplying to them. And once we approach Unilever, we can tell them to give us access to a few of their suppliers, whom we can be able to finance on the guarantee that Unilever is going to pay us from this particular aid. So we are going to finance those suppliers who happen to be SMEs, and with that, we are able to create another innovative way of making sure that those SMEs who are unable to access the credit, they have a position or a point to be able to find a way of making sure they finance their business. So those are the major ways that we are working on in terms of innovative, and we also cut across the sectors. Most of the time we look at sector, we understand the value chain. For example, especially on the agri value chain, which is less risky. I think from the start of the session, we had that agriculture is a backbone of our country, and it's a big percentage of how the economy is driven. So with this, we leverage on this and we look at the agri valuations and we absorb a lot of agri clients because most of our portfolio is composed of agri clients. However, we have also looked at the health sector. We also look at the manufacturing sector and also logistics. So these are sectors that we have tried to explore, and it's coming out to be very, very clear. And with the help of BASP, I know that there's some financing, especially on the northern corridors, which we need to open up the economy. There's a lot of need in terms of how we can fund this. And through Kenya Investment Mechanism, we are absolutely sure that Financial Access will be able to finance these grants who really need the product, and we can be able to bridge the gap where it's needed.
All right, I'm still on you, Peter. Maybe you can expound on how this innovation system are going to be different from the current normal banking lending models that we have.
Yeah, we are different because we do not have quite a number of requirements. Number one is that we have our own platform, whereby we call it e-Color platform. We have been built it from scratch, whereby our clients are able to see what's happening inside out. Every time you have even updates every morning, whereby it reminds you if it's an invoice which is supposed to be paid, you're able to access through that. Then number two is that we also collaborate with the bank. Not that we are competitive with the banks. We are collaborators with the banks. So we have a program whereby we work with the banks whereby they also do some co-financing. Since we are experts in understanding the variations, we are able to be in a position to see and identify these SMEs which are in need, and we can be able to finance from the side, whereby the bank also comes in as a partner to be able to assist and drive this economy. So differentiating ourselves from the bank, I would say, yes, we are non-regulated. So we could say that in Kenya, we are at the NBFIs, And although very soon in terms of registration, the CBK is almost going to start regulating MBFIs, but we are not deposit taking. So we take loans on the basis, on the variations. We understand you, we understand your product, and then from there we are able to come in and bridge for you the gap. Amongst the various forms of capital where you get your debt, we are able to provide you working capital, not necessarily loans. It's not a loan, it's a working capital, short term, which should come into cycles. So I don't know whether I've answered on that side.
Very well answered. He has answered our question, right?
Yes.
In agreement.
And maybe, Nina, maybe allow me to just throw to you one question, I think, from Roger's end. Roger. All right. I was been cued in that Roger had a question, so it wasn't him, so probably we could just progress with our court. Yeah, sure.
All right, if you have any questions, it's okay. We can just jot them down and then we'll have the question and answer session as we continue with this discussion. Anthony Mbithi, I would like to know, how is a family bank, as a financial institution, what role is it playing in advancing lending in the agricultural sector?
Thank you. We are taking a very bold step as a bank to venture into this sector, which has many a times been branded as risky. I think most financial institutions have shied away from financing agriculture on account of risk. But I think the understanding of agriculture is very little, so to say, particularly here, because any time that you mention agribusiness or agriculture, people tend to think about the producers or the farmers there. But they also forget that there is a whole value chain up to even manufacturing and export. And so when we concentrate on the production side, we miss out, because there are interventions that you can make at buyer level or processor level and impact the person who is down there. And so we are looking at that and combining our financial solutions with the knowledge that exists outside there. And that's why I say it is very hard for a bank to say they are financing agriculture if they are doing it in isolation. Partnerships become very key, because the knowledge that you need to know about the technical aspects of agriculture, the different income cycles for the value chain actors out there, the risks that you are about to encounter as a financial institutions, you may not have capacity to know all that. But now when you bring on board these partners who may be technical, or you look also at the market, if these things are financing as a financial institutions, where are they going? Is the market steady enough? Is it enough to support all the farmers that I want to finance? If you don't have that information, then you will still stick to that narrative that agri is risky. In fact, lack of information is, I think, the biggest hindrance to financing of agri. And we've taken a deliberate step as a bank to go out and seek partnership. Most of the financing that we are doing in the market is actually in partnership with others. And so we find it as a more effective way of approaching this segment, other than sitting in our offices, designing products and assuming that they will serve the market. We've also received a lot of support also from DFIs and development agencies that now help to catalyze that appetite that we have for the sector. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. David, I'd like us to take a look at Marta's digitization, and maybe you can share with us how Juhudi Kilimo leverage the digital innovations to meet the needs of the smallholder farmers.
Thank you, Nina. First of all, let me add something to my earlier question on characterization of crops. Where a value chain is well developed, also, rural smallholder farmers use their crops as collateral, whereby we have an MOU with the off-taker, and we can lend against the incomes of the projected incomes of the farmer. And we have seen that again, support rural smallholder farmers in terms of getting more money to invest on their farms and, support their livelihoods. In terms of digitization, Juhudi Kilimo has seriously digitized as a microfinance institution, and we have seen digitization in Juhudi Kilimo help us, reach out to more rural smallholder farmers, build their resilience, have greater impact on them, and our farmers are able to access financing much more easily. What we have done at Juhudi is that, one, we have digitized the whole loan process. That when rural smallholder farmers come together in a small group of 10 members or thereabout, they are able to borrow a loan at the group level without filling any paper, without having to fill a form, an application form, for the form to go to the office, and then the loan is processed. So our officer goes there with a POS, with a point of sale gadget, and they're able to originate a loan at that point. And the members of the group, they are able to offer their guarantee at that point, either using biometrics or by responding to an SMS prompt. And immediately the loan is submitted to credit risk for approval, and within hours the farmer is able to get the loan they have applied for. So that again helps our farmers get the loan very fast. We have also developed an app called Juhudika, whereby our rural smallholder farmers, either using, they can access either using USSD or the app. We have those two options. And using the app, they can be able to borrow an emergency loan. Using the USSD, they can be able to borrow the emergency loan. So at the comfort of their homes, they're able to borrow an emergency loan to sort their emergencies, maybe at the farm or at the family level. But above that, again, the Juhudika app offers to our customers a learning platform where customers are able to learn on the best agronomic practices. They're able to access weather information from the app, and this supports them to succeed in their farming activities. So it's not just about giving them the money. We would want to see the customers succeed actually in their rural smallholder farms, so that once they succeed, we are sure they will be able to pay the loans, and they're able to support their families as well.
Well, thank you very much, David. Anton, drawing reference to Kenya Investment Mechanism's initiative towards collaborating with partners in the financial institution space and product development. Now, please share more insights on the wins and challenges of product development.
Yeah, thank you, Ina. And I have been very fortunate to have partnered with Kim as a product development expert over the last 1-2 years. And over that period, we have been able to develop now about 6 agribusiness products with some of the leading financial institutions in Kenya, including my friend, my namesake, Anthony Mbidi. We spent a whole week in the bundus of Nanyuki trying to develop a feedlot product. As they say, in Kenya they say, kwa ground vitoni different. So that's actually one of the critical success factors for agribusiness. You cannot do agribusiness at the office. You must go to the ground. Because there are very many, agribusiness has got very many differentiators, including just in terms of ecological zones. Whatever works in Kitale will not work in Mount Kenya. So you cannot develop, let's say, what we call a national product. Now, going back to the basics of this, the first thing is that agricultural products cannot be generic. They must be very, very specifically tailored to the market that you are seeking to serve. As my colleagues have stated, you even need to leverage specific partnerships for specific agricultural value chains. And therefore, that means that you must look at the exact value chain that you want to support in its entirety. You must look at it in its entirety and actually link the nodes, right from the input providers to the farmers who are the producers. And a lot of times, for a long time, agribusiness has only been done at that level, that for us to be doing agribusiness, then we must finance the farmer. That's actually not true. There's much, much more. You need to link that farmer to probably an aggregator if they're small-scale farmers, and also by the scale. So if they are large-scale farmers, they can actually access the markets directly. But if they are small-scale farmers, then you need to aggregate them and link them to an aggregator. And then the aggregators are actually linked to processors. And then the processors are actually linked to the final consumers. So if you can actually look at that entire value chain, you can actually look at how do I facilitate financing across this value chain, either from the farmer level going upwards or from the end consumer going downwards. And actually that you find that when you actually inverse the entire process, then you actually find that you have opportunities even for things like contract farming, which then, based on the MOUs that David has talked about and partnerships agreement, let's say with off-takers, with processors, with exporters, and then you find that you can actually take comfort in that contractual arrangement and create fair trade, what I call fair trade contracts. And then based on those contracts, you are actually able to deliver financing to the farmer for a specific market or for a specific produce, and then you are able to get your payment directly from the off-taker. And then based on that, you are able to leverage finance to the farmer even without security, so that you actually overcome the first risk that the small-scale farmers may not have any other collateral other than probably the land which they are tilling. But even the reality is that on the ground, you find that even the land probably is in my grandfather's name. So yes, I have the title, but the land is in my grandfather's name, who is actually 3 decades dead. There has been no estate administration, and therefore, for all intents and purposes, that land is actually useless in terms of from a collateralization perspective. So we have to be innovative around the entire processing on how we are looking at agribusiness and the specific solutions that we want to provide for the small-scale farmer. For me, that's the first thing that we need to work on. The second thing is basically in terms of simplifying the product that reaches the farmer. The farmer will not be able to speak the kind of language we are speaking here. So, and now, particularly now as we go into the extent of digitization, we find that this is actually reduced to a USSD engagement, short USSD sessions that query the farmer very, very quickly. What financing do you need? How much for what period? How much is it? And based on a lot of algorithms that you will be able to do in the background, and actually this is where partnerships come. Before you find that because the farmer will actually not have all these records. And therefore, you actually need to leverage partnerships with the partners of that farmer. Where is he selling? So from the sales proceed, from the records of the sales proceed, you are actually able to kind of, generate the kind of credit profiles that you will be able to use. So that by the time you go to the farmer, you don't ask the farmer, you don't go asking the farmer 100% of the information required. Probably you only need to ask 5%, and you look for the 95% elsewhere, offline, without even the farmer's knowledge, and then you'll be able to come up with credit scripts that are able then to work for that farmer. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It's a very exciting conversation going on here. And remember, the hashtag is USAID Kim Learning Event. It's all about learning and sharing experiences and, of course, taking the lessons with you to get better. And I'd like to come back to you. In light of fostering financial innovation development, and uptake for inclusive growth. What are some of the strides made by Kim over the last 4 years?
Wow. Over the past 4 years, we've done a lot, and I'll just highlight a few. As Anton has said, we've helped some of our partners come up with new products, because what we found from the market was, yes, we have agriculture as our backbone, but do we have products that speak to agriculture? No, because we had vanilla products, so we've helped several of our partners come up with livestock products like aquaculture, there is feedlot, there is poultry, there is porcine, and post-harvest solutions. We also came up with a product on asset-backed, and this one takes care of the small machines like chaff cutters, anything small that is needed in the farm, you know. So that's what we've been working with our partners, because we've seen if we are not speaking the same language that the farmers are speaking, then we are not communicating and we're not growing the sector. From all of this, we've seen that we also have to train our partners. Over the last 4 years, we've trained directly over 800 bank staff, and what Roger was alluding to, we still have the trainer of trainers. So imagine if all these 800 or even half of that go back and train more, we can imagine the transformation that is being done within the sector, and also even just changing perceptions of agriculture is risky, or women is a challenge, or youth, you know. So those are some of the things that we look back and we're like, yes, there's something that we did. Even as David talks here and explains about the digital product, we've seen that it also helps the women, you know, to save time. They don't have to go to the bank. They can get their money quickly. It also allows the youth to borrow as much and to start learning how to be better and finance savvy from a younger age than what we started with, you know, because they're able now to see this is their incoming, these are their expenses, how do they repay these? And even from the digital platforms where we are able to see a lot of videos, or even just taking care of a basic profit and loss, what does this mean? And the apps are able to help the youth or the women come up with that, and also just to demystify financing to these particular sectors. So there are many things that we've been doing. For other partners, we've helped them come up with a strategic plan, and that means that even another 5 years or 10 years, agriculture lending or agric lending will really blossom, because now they will be implementing their plans, they will be changing the course of direction, they'll even be changing their core banking system to read agriculture. Anthony here will also tell you that they have also changed internally how they view agriculture, even how the credit process changes is taken through, because you cannot look at a person in trade the same way you look at agriculture, because one has to have maybe a bullet payment, or you have to tweak it to suit the season, but for trade it is vanilla, it's every month. So we are glad that the steps that we are taking, they are bearing fruits. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the strides that the Kenya Investment Mechanism has made for the past 4 years. Now, Peter, what are the challenges that you've encountered when it comes to implementing innovation of capital mobilization?
Thank you, Nina. I'll start by saying that any financial institution, they're in the business of selling money. So sometimes that's the whole reason why you see they shy away. But just to highlight a few, one of the biggest challenges that we have come across is about documentation. You find that trade documents, financials are not aligned. So this one will always make any financial institution to shy away from you, because there has to be some statistics for you to be able to access credit. So that's one of the things that I have seen a challenge. And one of the things that I can say that SMEs also forget is that if you don't give the right records, your cash flows will always tell you a story. And when it comes to that and the financial analysis on the 5C model, when I look at the character and I see you are not honest with me, so what will happen is that I'll shy away from giving you this financial credit. Another one is overtrading. Over the years, we have noted that most SMEs, due to sustainability of the business, you find that They want to keep opening new business lines, not to identify what is the optimum level that I'm supposed to keep so that I can keep this business getting sustainable. Another one is diversification of resources. So that is a major thing. You find that we finance an SME, and at the end of the day, once they see money is in the bank, the next thing they want to do is to move to real estate. They don't want to focus and keep the line of business that we financed on. The other one is lack of professionalism. This is a big problem in this country, and this one needs to be addressed a lot, because you find that some, I'm not talking about all, SMEs, they tend to employ people on the basis of family, not on the basis of what a person is coming to bring on the business. You need to employ the right person for the right job, at the right place, at the right time. That's a very key thing. Then the other thing that SMEs that I've seen is the key man risk, whereby you find that an SME is the only one. Yeah? If today they move outside of that business, the business collapses, meaning there's no succession in terms of if tomorrow we want to say that this company wants to go to another level, you find you have issues. The other one is business strategies. You find that some of these things, like projections, where do you want to be in the next 5 years in terms of scaling growth, you find that those kind of categories, some of these SMEs, they have a very good product, but their visionary side of it needs a lot of adjustment towards this. Then business structures, we have found out, and this is very important for SMEs, whereby you need to address the governance issues. That's what we have been telling them, whereby have some external parties who can put you on check. You need to be told the decision you're taking, there are consequences to this decision. So that's very important. And also reporting, you find that most SMEs don't keep and don't look at those numbers in terms of reporting. The other one is about the seasonalities. One of the problems, and most of the panelists who are here, you can agree with me, especially about the agri, you find that seasonality is a big problem. And this one needs to be addressed, because you find a farm has only one season. If, for example, they are doing the maize production, and this one, it can only be countered if a farmer thinks innovatively, whereby they think about aggregation, whereby if I don't have maize, what else do I need to do? Do I need to buy maize from Tanzania? Do I need to buy maize from Eastern African region, and so that I can keep the business being sustainable? So those are the few challenges that I can be able to highlight because of time, and I can say that they have been preventing SMEs from access on the finance.
All right, and I'm still on you. How would you describe the engagement between business advisory service providers and small, medium enterprises?
Yeah, I would say that in terms of BASP, I would say they are doing a very good job, because we have worked with a couple of them. And one of the things is that they prepare, especially on these challenges that I've highlighted, they are able to identify the bottlenecks where they are. And before they come, there is like a filter whereby they have been able to be taken through a couple of lessons, what you need to do to be able to access the credit financing. So with this, I would say that this is a very cordial relationship that is coming up. And I would say that it was very good on Kim to come up with this kind of program, because it makes even financial institutions to have easy way of making sure that they finance even more SMEs than they were able to do. And you can see that the numbers are growing each and every day as much as we continue partnering and collaborating with the BASP.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Kevins, wherever you are, I hope you are preparing. Hello, hi. I hope you're preparing our questions from the audience, as I should question to Anthony. Anthony, in terms of financing products, so kindly highlight for us the new financing product process and the transformation you expect to see in the market.
Thank you. This is a market-driven affair. I think there is a departure from how we've been doing things in the past. I alluded to the fact that most financial institutions used to sit in the head office, think about a solution in the northern Kenya, and coin a desktop solution and take it to the market. It has never worked. The approach has changed, and particularly here at Family Bank, whereby we are taking a market-driven approach, whereby we go out there. If it is about livestock, which is a focus value chain for Kim, I would want to listen to people in Isiolo, in Marsabit, in Garissa, and also their markets here in Nairobi, those people who are doing exports. What are their challenges? What are their opportunities, either existing or emerging? How do they feel that they should be supported by financial institutions? And that is the starting point. Before I even come and sit down and start writing a paper on the same, I now have adequate feedback and information from the real people who do the real thing from the ground. That way, when I launch a product targeting that market, I'll be comprehensively addressing their need. Of course, there are challenges to that, by interacting with them, you also now engage them on possible solution. So if drought or climate change has been hitting these counties bad that produce 90% of the livestock products, and I'm measuring on livestock because that is actually what Kim is supporting us in doing, then are there solutions? And is it a solution that the bank can only provide, or it calls for multiple stakeholders coming together to address that? And that way now we are able to roll out a product that responds to the needs of those of that segment, so to speak. And so the journey of product really is to say, for all now financial institution and any other partner who wants to really assist the agriculture in general, now not just livestock, it must start from the people themselves. And that way, then we will not have rejections. Another thing is also now the capacity, both from the supply side and the demand side. And that is what has really impressed me about Kim. They looked at both sides, because it doesn't help to capacity build the banks to lend to agriculture when the other side is not ready. And I think that is what the BASPs are doing. It also helps now for these people to move towards each other in terms of what is required for each party, so that financing or access to finance can happen. Thank you.
All right, our very able panelists. Now, Kevin, you ready for us? Okay, fantastic. Maybe you can stand up and start off by telling us your name, where you're from, and we can shoot to the question.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Constantine Kandie. I represent Media Advisors, that's helping mobilize investments to develop Africa. I'm also a founder member of CAPFIC, which is bringing together the pension sector to co-invest to support our infrastructure development in the country. Thank you so much to the panelists on financial innovation, development and uptake. My question is, I think, to everybody, but specifically targeted to the whole question of innovation. I'm not sure that I really heard a lot about how we are recognizing the specific peculiar challenges that SMEs and agribusiness sector have, to really incorporate them in a continuous learning process, so that beyond this program they will be able to continue interacting with the service providers, with the banks, and continuing to be innovative as a way of continuing to run their business, so that they are not dependent on the banks providing solutions, but that they are providing solutions themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anton, would you like to take that up?
Yeah, thank you, Constantine. You find that, and thank you for that question, it's a very relevant question, because for a lot of times it is assumed that financing is actually silver bullet to all the problems of SMEs. The reality is that financing could only constitute about 40% of the need of the SME. And as David alluded earlier, I think they have also incorporated a virtual learning process, platform within their digital platform. Now, the reality is that businesses, particularly the micro and small enterprises, require much, much more than financing. Even most of the time, financing should actually come at a much, much later stage than it is normally requested for. If you ask, maybe out of 10 SMEs, you ask them, what's your biggest challenge? They'll tell you capital. The reality is that capital could be a challenge, yes, but the reality is actually that capital is not the only challenge, and actually it's not the first challenge that they are actually experiencing. Probably they are experiencing issues with markets, they are experiencing issues with their products, even when they have a good product, they are actually not packaging the product properly. They are, most of the time, and that's why the BASC become very, very important, they are actually having challenges with their books of accounts and their operations management and all these other things. And therefore, even as a financier comes in to provide the capital, whether it is working capital or investment capital for machinery or for production, it would actually be foolhardy for that financier to provide. If the financier fails to recognize the other weaknesses within the institution, then the chances of default, which will actually arise from another quarter, are very, very high. And therefore, my advice and my encouragement is that as the financier goes into, and actually that's why I like the BASC process, when you incorporate these financial consultants to look at the business, they actually identify all these other challenges that the SME is experiencing. And therefore, as you do financing, let's say for machinery or for working capital, you actually also co-fund within, we normally call it technical assistance, or technical financing. You must deliberately have some 20 to 30% or 40% extra financing to be able to address the needs of the specific business that you are engaging with. That way, then you'll actually be able to provide a balanced solution to the business, and the business will be able to thrive. And that way, you also mitigate your risk. If you don't do that, you actually lose the capital that you have actually given out. But you go an extra mile and provide that extra incentive or extra service, then you actually find that you're actually mitigating your very own risk, and you actually end up with the business performing much, much more than it could have performed with only capital alone, and therefore you actually will be repaid easily. But more than that, you actually will be able to expand the amount of money you can actually give the institution, and therefore you grow your portfolio, you grow your balance sheet, you grow your profits, everybody's happy.
All right, well, David, would you like to add some mention to what Anton has said? How do SMEs continue, or rather stay in a continuous learning process?
Thank you. I think I would wish to take it from a different angle, from the financial institutions angle, that we want our customers at some point to get to the next level. And like for us, Juhudi, as a social impact institution, we are very keen on what I would call social performance management. You must look at the customer and say, as much as I'm doing lending, what did I intend to achieve from this, in this customer? What is the outcome of my financing? So you must, as an institution, you must look at how do you measure the impact you have on your clients, on your customers? Because it's not just financing, it has to be responsible financing. You don't want the customers to be indebted or to be dependent on you as a financial institution. If your intention is to improve their lives, is to improve their businesses, then you have to put in place some metrics within the institution that measures the impact or the outcome of what you're doing as an institution.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Anne, is there anything that you'd like to add as
Yes.
Fantastic. So, Anne, you add that, and then we'll take your questions, sir, in just a bit.
Okay. Just to add from the Kim perspective, when we come up with anything, especially in terms of innovation, as Anthony has said, nowadays we don't just sit and do desktop reviews and come up with a product. We also engage the experts. And even as the process is ongoing, what we've done with all our partners, we do market validation, where we bring the real enterprises or the farmers to come and give us feedback on this particular product. And 100%, we always tweak the product to suit them. So we have the enterprises with us. We also have our BASPs with us, because one of our partners, their product in aquaculture, they were able to get a lot of BASPs interested in it, and also they were even able to go and see a lot of enterprises along the lakeside. So it is a journey. By the time the product is coming to be launched fully, I can tell you the uptake will be very high, because we are working, all of us, from the financial institution to the BASP to the enterprises. So that will ensure that we live long, a healthy product that the uptake is quite high.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Due to the fact that time is working against us, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is George Jenga. I'm a program manager with the Kenya Small Business Development Centers. I direct my question to Anthony Mbithi, but anybody can answer it. I have a friend who had a farm and planted in a rock, and this is a true story. And at the stage of buying the insecticides, there was meant to be funding from the bank, which came late, and he lost his entire crop. Why is it that banks can't say no to an agricultural farmer? No, I'm not giving you, so don't depend on this money. And then they lose also the investment money because this length of philosophizing on money and product development and value chain addition is costing too many people too much time. There's too much philosophy. If there is a product in the farm, pay the money urgently, quickly, and then speak later. If no, say no immediately. And then please, if you can add to a bit of that, comment on the cost of financing for SMEs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anthony?
Thank you. Quite an unfortunate event there. What I would say is not all banks in the market are offering agribusiness solutions. That is one. If a bank or a financial institution is not in that line, chances are that the capacity to handle unique requests from customers are also very low. You've not been specific which year, because others have also joined the party, maybe very late. Initially, that capacity was not there. And so what I would say is, generally, agribusiness financing is not a very odd concept in the banking industry, especially here in Kenya. It is just peaking. And therefore, it means that probably if a farmer has been seeking these solutions from the financial institutions in the past, chances are that they've been appraised just like normal SMEs or in other sectors, and therefore the pain of losing crops, because the business person or the credit analyst who receives these applications don't appreciate the time sensitivity of the activity. That said, we now have quite a number of institutions in the market that now have professionals running the department. They know what it entails to finance agriculture, and I believe if our customers shop around for the institutions that have leadership, good leadership in the agribusiness sector, then these challenges will be solved. It is also a challenge to the banking fraternity in Kenya to ensure that they have people with the right background as people who can steer their agribusiness or agriculture financing, so that we don't have those incidences. The other side of it also is We also now receive, much as we also want to help, we also have now the farmers who come when disaster has already stricken. You found 4 armyworms now in your farm. You wake up and rush to a bank. Probably that is not even your main bank. And so the process of now appraising you starts, looking at you again, bringing statements from other institutions that you've been banking with. And yet we know a delay of 2-3 days or even a week can mean disaster, can lead to the loss of the entire crop. It also calls now for proactiveness on the side of the farmers who want financial support from institutions, because coming at the very last moment will not help you. The bank still has to do some due diligence on you, and for that to happen, it is good that we anticipate that we will expect this. Since we are going into this season, I may need this support, and so I should keep my bank ready. The costs of financing. I think currently, even after the interest rate cap was removed, the market didn't move a lot. Although we've seen some institutions that have now gone to risk-based pricing, most institutions are still at 13% per annum. Some will even offer some concessions, of course, depending on the amount and the scale that an SME is borrowing. You may find a concession, maybe getting a waiver on maybe what we call the processing fee, or sometimes the interest coming down from 13 to 12 or 11. And so it also depends on how well you work with your financial institution. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Lady and gentlemen, is there anyone who'd like to add on to what he has said? Great.
Thank you, Nina. My name is Tendai Mtana. I am the County Executive Committee member from Mombasa County, and mine is actually to all the panelists, and it's on the issue of what you're doing and where you're going with your partnership with the telcos, the telephone providers who are now one of Kenya's biggest financial institutions. And I'd like you to speak a little bit on what is your product innovation with them, given the fact that with most Kenyans today who are on some financial platform on a telco or another, you as banks are also sitting on that same infrastructure. And there's a data conversation that you seem to have not addressed on this discussion as to how it is those who are either underserved or those who are unbanked yet are sitting on assets of land, livestock, marine fisheries, that are finding it difficult to gain access to capital and capital mobilization. Thank you.
All right. Ladies first.
Thank you for your question. I'll just speak broadly because we don't have any products as Kim. But from what we've seen from our partners is, one, they're able to work with a lot of apps. They have their individual apps. There is Juhudika. There is also the one for Family Bank. We have other partners who have seen in the audience. They each have an app. There is no financial institution that does not have either an app or an USSD code where they are able to work with the farmers. Number two, we have a lot of digital information that is actually stored in these apps. So like there are some who will be able to raise a vet. There are others who will be able to give learning the way Juhudi is. There are others who will be able to help you with your profit and loss statements, just showing you income and expenses. So all of them have something that they are doing. So I will allow them to each share with you. Thanks.
Yes, David.
Thank you. I think, Juhudi, we have seriously partnered with these telcos, and from our platform, customers are able to pay loans using M-Pesa, for example, and we don't have to do reconciliation. It hits their accounts directly, and they get a message, again, a receipt for their payment, for their loan, whether they are individuals or their group clients. Also, when it comes to disbursement of loans, before in microfinance, customers used to get checks, then they travel a long distance to go and deposit the check in the nearest bank, then wait for some days for the check to clear. Nowadays, we just approve the loan, like I said, digitally. Within hours, the customer receives the money in their M-Pesa wallet. So that partnership is really working to enhance inclusion, to enhance access to the rural smallholder farmers, and it's really improving even efficiency for Juhudi Kilimo to bring down the cost of lending. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tendai. That's a very, very insightful question. And I think the crux of the question is actually going beyond integration to real partnerships. And there are three players here. One is the financial institution. The other critical player is the telco. And particularly for Kenya, it's actually the M-Pesa platform. And then the third one is actually somebody else who is sitting in the middle. That is now the real technology company. And I think that's where now the conversation really needs to start getting closer. Because you find that a number of banks are busy developing their USSD and their digital applications. But at the end of the day, either they are just tech or they are just bankers. On the other side, we have the platform which is available to everybody, and we are very happy that at least Safaricom has been able to open up the Daraja portal to be able to allow full integrations and even further developments on that platform. But I think the conversation needs to be increased between the technology firms, the agri-based firms, so that the banks actually do not develop application or tech apps for themselves, but actually develop the applications for the farmer. So if you look at M-Farm, DigiFarm, I think that's actually where the conversation now needs to go closer, so that it's more of a collaboration effort rather than my app competing against your app. And then from there, then we can now be able to share data between these two ecosystems. Because we are now having various ecosystems, but a lot of them are actually operating in silos. It is good. It is now time we actually now go into full interoperability between data access between all the various ecosystems that are being developed by various parties.
Okay, now we have been heavily allotted that our time is up, so I'd like to hear our panelists' closing remarks. Now, this session has come to an end, but the conversation has not come to an end.
Nina? Maybe, pardon me to interrupt you. There's a nudge that came in from the audience. Somebody really wanted to ask a burning question, and she urged me that this is from a women perspective, and that's why I'm just requesting my directors behind the scenes to allow me to sneak in this question. Phoebe probably could just come on set and put in that question across to the FI as you wanted. Then I will get it to you, Nina, and you'll get to the final remarks. Phoebe, just come on set. Problem. Yeah, please, just feel free.
Thank you very much, Kevin. My name is Phoebe War from Lamido Consult. There's a lot of innovation that is coming up from the banks, but you've forgotten about the women. We'd really like to see what kind of innovation you have for products for women exclusively to be able to support women access finance. Thank you.
Sonuna, you could guide that to make it a bit quick, then we'll get back to our next set.
All right, well, thank you very much, Phoebe, for that question. Anthony, I think we'll start off with you.
Thanks. I'll speak for the industry. I think we've seen various financial institutions coming with women proposition. This is now not specific to women in agriculture, but women in business. And so for us who are in Agri, we are just stakeholders in the whole conversation. Particularly in Family Bank, we've gotten support from an organization called Value for Women that has been training our staff, and we have now a dedicated department taking care of women in business. And in the next less than 30 days, Family Bank will be launching its women proposition in the market. So please watch out for that. We will be able to share with the market what we are going to offer through that engagement. Thanks.
All right, I wanted you to kindly wrap it up with your closing remarks as we wind up, because, as I said, we have been heavily alerted that our time is up.
Thank you. I think to the audience, all I can say is that having spent most of the time here talking about partnerships, if you are out there and you are a player in the agriculture sector, we would like to have a conversation with you. Let us know what you are doing. Let us know the kind of solution that a financial institution of our standing can offer, and we'll be more than glad to have that conversation and avail a solution that was much needed in the market. Thanks.
And as you speak of having a conversation with them or with us, where will this conversation actually take place? After this, where can we find you?
Well, I'm available here throughout the day. I'm seated at Family Bank Towers head office. That is where my office is, first floor. Am I allowed to give my contact? I can share my contact on the sidelines of this first day of this event.
There you have it. You can get Anthony's contacts after this particular session. Peter?
Yeah, thank you, Nina. So it has been a very good morning. I would say that as my part in short, through these learning lessons, especially through the financial institutions, I would love to say that things to do with collateral should not stop any SMEs from accessing finance. What we need to do is to be innovative, and we also need to go out there and look for information whereby, apart from ordinary banks which are renowned, there are other financial institutions which have tailor-made products for these organizations, and they can be able to help you to grow because they come into the missing middle. So if you learn, you look at these learning sessions, you can be able to understand and see that the need is there, and also the link is what is missing. So if you can work on the link, you're able to access the finance no matter in how it is. So for my team, today I didn't come alone. Maybe I can tell them to stand. They are just behind. I have two ladies. There's Aisha and and Teresa. So thank you. So in case of anything, we have a table outside there. We can be able to assist for any questions, any feedback, and more information will be. We are here for the whole day. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
I just want to thank my fellow panelists and also my partners, and ask anyone who needs either an introduction to a BASP or an FI to reach out to us. I know our communications director will share the details on where we are on LinkedIn and Facebook and all social media. Reach out to us. We'll be able to link you up to either a BASP or a financial institution, be it in agriculture, wash, health, even women and youth. Phoebe, we need to have a conversation after this. So because there are many products that we might be knowing and maybe you don't know, so we are able to reach out and help you and do the linkage for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wish to really thank the audience, my colleagues, and our facilitator. And from Juhudi Kilimo, we believe the rural smallholder farmers and micro entrepreneurs can still be served quite effectively in institutions that serving them, breaking even, making money, making profits. And at the same time, having a greater impact on these rural smallholder farmers and micro entrepreneurs by using technology. Agri-tech, we believe, is the way to go. We believe using digitization platforms to enhance efficiency for the institution and access for the rural smallholder farmers and micro entrepreneurs will help us become winners, all of us, both the micro entrepreneurs, the rural smallholder farmers, and the financial institution. So thank you so much. And at Juhudi, we are open for business, not only for group clients, the rural smallholder farmers. We also do financing for assets. We also do working capital for the people in the value chain or the SMEs, and we are really looking forward again to support the people in this country, those who are in business and those who are in agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anton?
Yeah, thank you, Nina. Mine is, I would say that it's been a good run, an excellent run with the KIM team, particularly for the portfolio that I have handled. 6 financial products in less than 2 years is no mean achievement. Normally, a financial product can take up to 9 months, sometimes more than a year, if you're digitizing it to develop. And therefore, basically, it means we have done 6 years of work in less than 2 years. That's kudos to that. Similarly, also on the capacity building of the financial institutions, more than 800 stakeholders, sector leaders have been trained. This normally does not happen. Actually, I've been a financier myself. We do 1 or 2 trainings in a year. I think for the last 1 year, we have done more than 8 trainings courtesy of this. So mine is to encourage that initiative to continue and basically to urge the financial institutions really to embrace the agri space more. There's a lot of solutions that are coming on board, and they're coming at a much faster rate and so there's actually need for transformation, as we have heard from our co-panelists, that the way they were looking at agri before is not the way they are looking at agri now, and therefore let us also embrace and move on with the positive current to be able to deliver more solutions to the sector. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Anton. A round of applause for our panelists this morning. Now, the conversation on financial innovation, development, and uptake does not end here. If anything, we've just gotten started. And we have eaten 15 minutes into your time, Kevins. Sincere apologies, but let me bid our panelists goodbye by appreciating them. On to my farthest right, we had Anthony Mbithe, who is the head of agribusiness segment from Family Bank. A round of applause. And just after Anthony, we have Peter Ndirangu, who is the head of finance, the Financial Access, Commerce and Trade Services, head of finance from FACTS. A round of applause, kindly. And the only other lady on stage with me, Anne Muenje, who is the Financial Institutions Director from the Kenya Investment Mechanism. Thank you so much. A round of applause for her. David Njiru, who is the Chief Business Officer of Juhudi Kilimo. Thank you so much for joining us. And finally, my neighbor, Anton Wambura, who is the product development expert. Thank you. A round of applause for all of them. I'd also like to thank Konstantin. Thank you so much, George, Tendai, and Phoebe. Well, and Phoebe, in the next few hours, we will be having a conversation on unlocking capital for women entrepreneurs. So we'll delve deeper into that, yeah? In the next few hours. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nina Shaban. I've been your moderator for this particular session. It has been an honor. I'll be back in the next few hours to talk about women and capital. So good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Nina, and the entire panel. Just as you on board on stage, thank you very much for that great session. Probably I will do this particular link real quick and maybe just urge Lurit to be on standby to guide us on what to come in next. Key takeaways that emerges out of that particular session, two of them, picking it in this order. The effects caused by lack of familiarity with concept, visibility, and limited understanding of product range limits the seamless adoption of different finance models in Africa. Probably that's our key takeaways coming in from that particular segment. And also one last one, putting it at 2, is investing in SMEs requires good quality information on credit and payment history of beneficiary enterprises, and lack of such information significantly increases the credit risks to factoring companies. As Lurit gets on stage to just take us on to what comes in next, allow me to just also remind you that this particular conversation goes on within the respective social media handles, and for anyone joining in, the key hashtags that we're using, let me just pull it up, is hashtag USAID Kim Learning Event and hashtag to invest in Kenya. Talk to us. Lurit, if you stand by, I'll urge you to just pick it up and guide us through on to what comes next. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. I think that was a very good and interactive session. Just a quick highlight, maybe just a food for thought for the panelists and everybody inside this room right now. There's a guy from Mombasa named Edward, and he mentioned that the biggest problem he faced as an SME is the lack of proper financial structures that can enable him to access loans from any financial institution. And he poses a very big question that I think can be a food of thought within this particular day for everybody in the room. And he says, is there a way that these financial institutions can actively develop training programs to help small and medium enterprises understand what exactly is needed before we get loans? And it's very clear that so many people don't understand so much. So is there a way it can be actively be done and ensure that they're all able to participate actively in the whole process of inclusion in the financial system? So maybe that's just the last thing I would say at this point during the panel. And just to give direction on what's next, we will now be proceeding for a health break. The health break should take about 20 minutes. So I'm hoping we can be back at around 11:40 for the next session. And Kevin's will take it from there when we get back. Yeah.
There's a huge?
Oh my God. There's a party.
Okay, first, relax. During the break time, relax. Breathe in. No, I can't come to you to just say congratulations. No.